Recently, I bought the Lemon LE-HHC12 two-piece hi-hats. These are basically their version of Roland's VH13 hi-hats. Like the rest of Lemon's products, these are super cheap and I've had good experiences with their ride cymbal triggering, so I gathered this was going to be another win for Lemon and I'd be able to get a review video out pretty quickly. Unfortunately though, I'm only just writing the review video now over 2 months later because there was a problem. I was getting edge triggering on the bow zone, but only when I played over a certain velocity. Before I get into the problem, here's how this hi-hat works. It has a jack output on the bottom of the cymbal pad, which uses a small patch cable to connect to a link input on the hi-hat controller. This link input passes the connection through to a hi-hat output on one side of the controller, and there's a separate hi-hat controller output for the pedal action on the other side. So of course I began troubleshooting with the most obvious steps. I changed the cable going from the hi-hat output on the controller to the module. That didn't fix it. I tried swapping out the small link cable going between the pad and the controller. That didn't fix it. Maybe the edge switch was somehow closing from bow hits due to the rubber or something. So I tried connecting a different top cymbal to the controller, one that I knew worked properly, and now this one started triggering the edge on the bow zone. Weird. At this point that was telling me that it might be a controller issue, but just to confirm, I swapped back to the Lemon top cymbal and connected the pad's output directly to the module, and the pad performed correctly. So as long as the hi-hat pad wasn't connected to the controller's link input, it was working correctly. I'd isolated the issue. To me, it was pretty apparent that something in this connection was causing the signal to be falsely read as a closed switch. I could have just used the cymbal connected directly to the module with the cable hanging out the back like this instead of using the link cable, but that's not how it's supposed to work, so I wanted to resolve this. I got in contact with Lemon through the Alibaba messaging system and I sent over a video of the issue. They were quick to respond, and after some back and forth over a few days, they sent me a new controller that they said they had tested. A week or so later, it arrived. Same problem. After some more messages, they didn't really believe that the controller was the issue. Why would two controllers be faulty? On the other hand, I'd tried every other combination of variables, and the only time I had any issues with the top hi-hat pad was when it was connected through the controller. Of course, they needed time to work out what the problem was, and they needed to be able to replicate it themselves, and there might have even been a little bit of a language barrier between us with the way that I was describing the problem. And then it was a public holiday in China, and they were off for a week, and the whole time I was just left thinking, it has to be the controller, right? And now would be the perfect time for a twist ending, but there isn't one. It was the controller. They eventually replicated the issue and set about developing a fix. Once they had, they sent me a video. One cable inside the controller unit needed replacing, and guess which one it was? The cable between the link input and the hi-hat output. It was very simple to do. I just had to unscrew the rubber cover on the controller, locate the correct cable, pop it out of the connectors on either side, and connect the new cable in its place, replacing the screws to finish. It now works exactly as it should, and although this was a kind of frustrating experience, I'm really glad that Lemon were willing to keep following up on this issue. It did take a little bit of convincing them that I wasn't just doing something wrong, but overall, they've listened to feedback, found a problem and fixed it within a pretty short span of time. And not to mention, they also sent out parts without much hesitation. That's just good customer service. Also, the second controller that they sent me had an extra part in the box, which addresses another issue that I'll get into in the full review. This new cable will now be the standard part that they use on all of their controllers, so this should no longer be a problem for anybody buying one since they developed the fix. If you do have a faulty one, just get in touch with Lemon through Alibaba and I'm sure that they'll send you a new cable. I'm just glad that the issue is now fixed and I can do my full review video, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you want to see how Lemon's 18-inch ride stacks up against other much more expensive rides, check out this electronic 18-inch ride shootout video here. I'll see you there.